which seems to be a really good time to bring in our Australian correspondent, who, as I understand, is holidaying in New Zealand. She's slumming it with the rest of us. Jaqui Lane joins us now. Jaqui, where are you?
I'm just out of Wellington at the moment, actually staying with my brother.
Now, okay, when you say just out of Wellington, what part of just out of Wellington?
Ohio Valley, which is kind of the back of Johnsonville, actually.
Oh, yeah. Is that the one that goes down to the beach?
I don't know. I've never been there.
Oh, you've never been there until now, right? Yeah. It's got lots of hills.
That's the one. That's the one.
It's very green, and there's meant to be, I think, a wind farm or two somewhere around there as well. Somewhere. Did you drive past it?
There's a massive wind farm.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I was hiking up on top of the hills around here this morning, and you get a fantastic view of the wind farm, apart from amongst other things.
I would imagine it's very windy.
It is windy. But
there you go.
That's to be expected. Yeah.
No, well, yes, you are in that neck of the woods. Lovely to talk to you again anyhow. Hey, listen, while you've been away from home, it's all kicked off in Australia, yeah?
Yeah, it sure has, in many ways, shapes and forms. So, yeah, I've been away for literally just on a week. So we've had the Brittany Higgins defamation case. We've had the stabbing at Westfield and Bondi Junction, which is 5 minutes walk from where I live in my local shopping centre.
Right, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a stabbing out west with an Islamic cleric. So all been happening.
Okay, let's go to the Westfield stabbing and the Bondi issue first. Four people killed? Six?
Six.
6 people killed, 5 women, 1 man, a baby critically injured who I understand, thank God's out of intensive care now, but obviously, that was Tell me about the Westfield shopping centre where this occurred.
Okay, so, it's about 5 minutes walk from where I live in Bondi Junction, which I guess is kind of the big shopping centre in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. So it's between kind of the city and Bondi Beach, if you like, to just give people a bit of a geography thing there. Relatively new shopping centre, marble and brass and things, and many levels, all your major, big international fashion brands through to your Coles and Woolies and everything else between. So it's the only large shopping centre in this whole geographic area. Got movie theatres attached to it. So it's a place where locals will go to do their grocery shopping, as well as visitors come to visit it, do, high-end shopping and stuff like that. Very busy place for the community, big transit area as well. Usually pretty busy, and particularly on a Saturday. It's a really major destination.
Heard of the stabbing. Well, it was last Saturday. We all heard about it, and it was led our news obviously that night. And I think the initial thoughts were this was a terrorist attack. Was that your initial thought too?
Look, it wasn't mine. And really, I think some people said it might be, but I think pretty quickly it was clear that it wasn't. I mean, that's the go-to for everybody at the moment, but I think pretty quickly it was identified as some nut job, really.
However, almost immediately, somebody who thought that, and you can think that, and then publishing it as something completely different, they identified a man by the name, or Channel 7 News did, of Benjamin Cohen as having been the stabber. What the hell happened there that a television studio or television channel in Australia would identify the attacker? Why was that?
Oh, look, stupidity. I mean, and it's not the first time Channel 7's been stupid. Just lack of care, lack of attention, desire to get, a kind of jump on other media channels, and a complete lack of journalistic, effort and integrity, really.
So, but I'm still stunned. How did Channel 7 News identify, I think it was later on that day, no, it was early the next morning, Sunday morning, I think, that a Sydney University student by the name of Ben Cohen was the attacker? Do you know how that got there?
Look, I don't. I think they said publicly that there was a junior media person who was doing the research and just got the wrong guy because they didn't look dissimilar. But I think, in other words, blaming a junior on not knowing what they were doing.
Now, there is some suggestion. There is some suggestion that 7 News was hoodwinked by a Russian disinformation program, a Russian bot, because it was on social media. I think his name was Semyon Boykov, and he posted prolifically and then identified Cohen as the attacker, and they just simply picked that up and off they went and published it.
Yeah, look, possibly, but even then, why
really,
would you do that? On so many levels, why would you do that?
I don't.
Why would you answer an email from someone who's got a Russian-sounding name saying that you've won $100 million?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Really.
No. Well, he's engaged lawyers anyhow, Mr. Cohen. I'm not surprised, and I imagine there'll be a pretty hefty defamation settlement.
Oh, I'm sure they won't even go to court.
No, you're right.
He'll just get a payout. As he should.
And rightly so. That's right. Hey, which leads us to the next conclusion, because this time last week it hadn't come out. It has now. Bruce Lehrmann, man. Woof. Brittany Higgins, yes, but no one's walked out of this one without some degree of ochre, it would seem.
Yeah, look, I think, apart from the fact that Justice Michael Lee would have to be the most interesting and erudite judges I think we've ever seen, he should start his own TV channel. He really, he really said that neither Brittany or Bruce were, exactly star witnesses in terms of their credibility. He took a swipe at 10. He's really pretty appalled at really most of the players in this. However, he's come out and said that on the balance of probabilities, she was raped by Bruce, and therefore the 10's defence of truth holds.
That's the old... But having said that, he then criticises basically 10 for politicising it, for basically exploiting everybody that they could come across to do so, and also for screwing up the trial in which Brittany Higgins might well have had to appear herself and give evidence in a criminal court on the issue of rape against Lehrmann. Yeah. Listen, as you know, now 10's reporter, is it Lisa Ferguson?
Lisa Wilkinson, who won a Logie Award for being basically Journalist of the Year for running this story. Does this also suggest, frankly, that the Australian media come out of this in general badly because they picked her up and said she was a hero? Yes, it does. It does. People are really either a fan of Lisa's or not. So, and also the Channel 10 that she was working for at the time really, left her out to dry as well. Happy to get the credit, but then when the shit hits the fan, they weren't going to pay her legal fees. Look, journalism, at this level is on the nose in Australia. You've got News Corp, with Murdoch. You've got Channel 7 with Kerry Stokes. The quality of journalism really is is going south at a great rate of knots, and this is just more example of that. Gutter journalism and poor journalism and people running particular agendas as opposed to reporting the news.
Oh God, that sounds familiar.
So it's grubby all round, really.
Yep. No. Well, welcome to New Zealand journalism as well. Hey, on that issue, we're just carrying on. The actual terrorist attack, ironically, did occur later in the week when a 16-year-old young man of, I think, Lebanese background stabbed an Assyrian churchman who had never even heard of the Church of Assyria before, the particular stabbing, but we have now. There is more, one would presume, on this issue, because the question will be, my understanding is he was apprehended prior because he was playing around with a knife. Nobody did anything about him, and then he finally did something with a knife, yeah?
Yes, from what I can understand, he had been erratically not attending school that much. He had been suspended from school due to some knife incidences. So he was known, but didn't necessarily have any connection with the particular church or whatever. The bishop is, has a particularly strong views on things, Bishop Mari Emanuel. So he YouTubes all of his sermons, so he's certainly out there in social media. So this young man has obviously decided to take matters into his own hands, and I think he travelled 90 minutes to get to the church, so it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. So that's concerning in itself. And then, of course, there was a huge riot outside the church whilst the police and paramedics were attending. So they had 50-odd policemen and, damage to police cars and all the rest of it. So the attack was then shared on social media by various other people. So it ended up being not just a knife attack, but a significant community riot with 500-600 people.